Also, there's that little thing called, unconditional love that, nothing he does will ever make me stop loving him and the other way around.
Even though we fight every day.
Yes.
Welcome to Derry. Expand the mythology you first built in the It films, and obviously Stephen King in his novel as well. So what guided your choices of tone and scope, and how did you decide which elements of that word to deepen and which to reinvent?
So our guideline was, for me, it was all the mysteries and the enigmas that are presented in the book, and more concretely, we're following the events that are described in the interludes, which is all those chapters in the book that inform you about all the events in the past cycles of Pennywise. But for me, personally, it was about shedding light on all this big question mark and matters that are not resolved and that drive your attention. I think that we created stories that sort of complete the puzzle.
Derry has to feel both epic and intimate at the same time. So how did you structure the scripts to keep the human drama alive within the mythology of cosmic horror?
Kick it off. The benefit of long form storytelling is that you can delve much more deeply into character. So we really wanted to craft characters that were, that seemed to fit into the time period in the story we were telling. We go back 27 years from the movies, from 1989 to 1962. We wanted the fears of these characters to be appropriate to the time, America in 1962, the fears being, nuclear war, obviously, the civil rights movement, racism, all the things that are inherent to small town USA. So we really just tried to craft characters that fit into that world, that had their own fears, their own personal, pasts and stories, and tailor the fears to them, make them very personal.
Taylour and Jovan, your characters form the emotional center of the series, I would say. So what helped you establish that intimacy, and how did you build trust in portraying a family under siege of fear itself?
I think it was an honor to get the opportunity to play these parts, just because the Hanlon name is something that's one of the main names with the children from the movies that we've come to love. So getting to play the grandparents who started this journey for the Hanlon family was an honor.
Damn.
And it's fun.
Talk about generational trauma.
Man, as far as like the chemistry, I think we worked. I mean, when we first met,
we are great friends.
Yeah.
We met, we went for coffee, we were giggling and silly, but then we were like, we both take the craft really seriously and love what we do. And Jovan created a playlist for us, which was, 1962. We had some Sam Cooke on there. We had Ella Fitzgerald. We had
some good tracks on
some great,
just put our headspaces in the time of the songs that Leroy and Charlotte would have fallen in love to, and the songs that reminded them of the wedding, and when we found out that we were having that type of stuff.
But we also took the time to we obviously it's pressurized. We're moving to this town, but they have their history of having moved a lot, the history of being a younger couple in 1962, the pressure of the world, the pressure of this time. Take all of that, and then you go to this fucked up town, and I think we both wanted it to be apparent these people love each other, but life has its way of doing what life does, and then on top of that, this entity that we have no idea, But the conflict that is so omnipresent is the woman feeling like she knows something's just not right, and the man being like, I have to put my head down and do what I have to do. Could you please just not ruffle feathers? Like, trying to build a life for us. Mm-hmm. I'm a black man. Like, let me just do what I gotta do. And she's like, but is doing what you gotta do worth it?
I love the way that Rose moved through this word with a kind of quiet power, I would say. And what aspects of her background or history did you imagine to inform that presence on screen?
So there was a very deep dive into Wabanaki history, and working very closely with John Bear Mitchell, who was our Penobscot elder and also a professor at the University of Maine. And so everything that I did in our community, there's several Indigenous people on this show, both behind the scenes and on camera. And our whole goal is to to make sure that the Penobscot people, the Wabanaki people feel just seen and heard and honored, both past, present, and future generations. And it's just a big weight to carry, because we don't, I mean, I'm sure not in Poland, but not even us in America. How often have we seen tribes from this area represented in mainstream media? This is ground zero of colonization, and they survived. They survived. So they were there in 1962, and it's such a gift to get to bring that to light and share it with the entire Stephen King universe, because there is an indigenous, right? All of those stories are happening on indigenous land, and it has reverberations.
Given that it deals with generational fear, how did you approach writing characters whose trauma echoes across decades, long before Pennywise reemerges?
That's a very good question.
When you talk about a horror or a trauma that echoes across generations, what you're talking about is memory, a trauma that people remember for decades and decades. And that sort of speaks to, I think, the core theme of certainly the book, but also the series, which is the battle between memory and amnesia. We have a villain, like so many villains, who wants folks to forget the horrors, who wants folks to look the other way. And we have heroes who are trying to hold on to those memories in order to stop the cycle from recurring. So it's not just that these are traumas and horrors that echo, it's that there's a battle, there is a cosmic conflict to make sure that they echo. And part of what we wanted to tell a story about was the necessity of memory, the necessity of recalling horror, not to look away. And so the show is many things, but it is also, I think, a clarion call about the moral power of memory.
And I was wondering, how did your sibling dynamic play into collaborating on creative decisions? So were there roles and responsibilities you naturally gravitated towards in this project?
Well, I'm definitely a producer, and this gentleman is definitely a director, and we are very different, and that's why we work together so well. We complement.
We try to stay out of each other's paths, so we don't.
But are constantly on each other's paths, so it's not possible. It's just, it's basically respecting the other person and knowing that we're both going towards the same direction. That's the crucial aspect of it. And also, there's that little thing called, unconditional love that, nothing he does will ever make me stop loving him, and the other way around.
Even though we fight every day.
Yes.
I know that we might be getting into spoiler territory a bit, but what scene or exchange you are the most proud of? Something that for you, captures what Welcome to Derry is truly about?
I'm curious what you are.
Me?
Yeah.
What I'm most proud of, I would say probably the finale.
You're the one that got to see it.
I mean, I just asked. and I just poked, and I was like, I need this, But I can say very little about the finale, because most people.
You love it?
I just think it's
beautiful.
They just did a great job. When we're talking about like you said, the generational trauma and having to find a way to because we know that, where the movies begin. So there's something that happens in this show that works. I just can't say what it is. And it's just the way that they take us from episode 1 to the end is just really special.
Great.
Dang. You saw it too?
Yes. I know. It's deserved
Good for
too.
You guys.
That's what it is.
Good for you.
It's just
love for you guys.
Deserved is a good way of saying
it's
it.
Deserved.
The ending is earned and
earned. Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. So thank you very much. Unfortunately, we have to wrap up. So have a great day, and
thank you. Have a great day.